Yesterday, I did a little bit of study about what happened over the years, and I thought it would be interesting to share a bigger perspective with all the friends from the media. In 2004, Shri P. Chidambaram, the then finance minister, is on record to say that he has inherited a very strong economy. At that time, the growth rate was over 8%. Inflation was around 4%, 4.25%. Foreign exchange reserves were robust compared to the size of the economy at that point of time. All fiscal parameters were in control. The macroeconomy was strong. Fiscal deficits were down. Revenue deficits were down. And India was a beacon of hope for the country. If I may quote from his budget speech given to Parliament introducing the budget for the year 2004-05, the then Honorable Finance Minister had said, the economic fundamentals appear strong and the balance of payments is robust. And he had talked going forward about sustaining the then growth, the then production and value addition, and take it forward in the years to come. He had also spoken about his government being committed to strike a fine balance between the three mutually reinforcing objectives of growth, stability and equity. What did the UPA do in the 10 years that they were in government? Of course, I can ask a question that I have read 10 speeches of the UPA government. Never once has there been a mention of bringing in a legal guarantee for MSP. Never once did they speak about trying to uplift the poor by giving them free homes, giving them free insurance, giving them free food grains, or ensuring that every household has access to electricity, has access to cooking gas, LPG cylinders, has access to clean drinking water, has access to digital connectivity, has access to toilets. And in 10 years of the UPA government, they brought the nation down to a growth rate of about 4.4% that was inherited by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Inflation at spiraling highs for the last few years of the UPA government. In UPA 2, in some years inflation was in double digits. Core food inflation had gone up to over 13%. And they left behind for Prime Minister Modi, instead of a strong economy, which the UPA inherited in 2004, a fragile economy, which the world looked down upon as a fragile five economy, one of the weakest economies in the world, with very, very weak macroeconomic fundamentals. In 2014, Mr. Chidambaram, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji, the then chairperson of the UPA, who was micromanaging the affairs of government through the back door, left behind for the country high fiscal deficits, high inflation, high interest rates, low growth, very low foreign exchange reserves. Some of the reserves were propped up by artificially borrowing non-resident FCNRB loans at exorbitant interest rates just to temporarily shore up foreign exchange. In every respect, the 10 years of the UPA were a failed experiment, reflected a failed government, reflected a failed governance model, and brought the country and the people of the country to their knees in terms of quality of life, in terms of equity, which he spoke about, in terms of inclusive growth, in terms of ensuring the welfare of the farmers, the welfare of the poor, a better future for the MSMEs. And we saw crony capitalism at its worst, with corruption scandals surfacing regularly during their period, and not small corruption scandals. At that point of time, to have a Colgate of 1,86,000 crores, where the Congress party gave irregular allotments to their cronies, business friends of coal mines, valuable national resources, free of charge, without any due process. And the Supreme Court had to cancel over 190 coal blocks in September 2014, clearly putting a mark of approval on the irregular and corrupt practices of the Congress party. One after another, corruption scandals tumbled out of the UPA regime. And when we came to 2014, Mr. Chidambaram, again finance minister, was trying to justify the failure of their government by talking about world economic growth being low, falling, the global risks mapped by international agencies, acknowledging the failure of his government in achieving fiscal consolidation, price stability, self-sufficiency in food, or reviving the growth cycle, by justifying it on global factors. When speaking about the state of economy, and I quote from his speech, he says in para 6, "Let me begin with the good news. The fiscal deficit for 13-14 will be contained at 4.6% of GDP. I'm quoting from his speech. The UPA had taken fiscal deficit right up to 9.1%. And the good news was it is down to 4.6% after nearly 5 years. More importantly, he's talking of current account deficit being contained a little bit and adding 15 billion to foreign currency reserves in that year. Only 15 billion US dollars as good news. At that time, there was talk of a downgrade of the Indian economy. And he says, and I quote again, analysts and rating agencies had acknowledged our efforts some months ago and no longer speak about a downgrade. So clearly, the atmosphere was one of depression, despondency and despair under the UPA government, and international agencies were talking about a downgrade. He was hoping that domestic experts will agree with the UPA government what it said when it put fiscal stability at the top of the agenda. This is a quote from his speech, that fiscal stability should be at the top of the agenda. And then he says, and very interestingly, I quote, going forward, I appeal to all political parties to join me in the pledge that we shall not, and then he repeats for emphasis, we shall never do anything that will affect the stability of the foundations of India's economy. This is Mr. Chidambaram's speech of 2014-15, which I have quoted from. And look at what has happened in 10 years. The country has moved from a fragile 5 economy left behind by Mr. Chidambaram to a top 5 economy in the world, from the 10th position to the 5th position in the world rankings of GDP. In UPA's regime, I suspect they remained flat. They inherited the 10th or 11th position, they're left behind the 10th position. We improved from the 10th position in the world to the 5th, and in the next 3.5 years, Prime Minister Modi will take this country to the 3rd position in world GDP rankings. In the 10 years that we were in government, we have strengthened the macroeconomic fundamentals so much that the world today is looking up to India as a beacon of hope, as the country that will lead economic growth of the world, contribute the very large share to world economic growth. A country that for the last 3 years has demonstrated over 8% average growth. A country with boasts of $657 billion as foreign exchange reserves. A country that is very rapidly moving to its stated fiscal deficit target of about 3.7 to 4.3%, or at an average about 4%. A country that has taken 25 crore people out of multidimensional poverty in 10 years under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, taking 4 crore families out of poverty by giving them a free home, providing 12 crore families with a free toilet, ensuring the dignity and well-being of the women of our country, of our girl children, provided every home with a LPG gas connection, working to make sure that every home gets a water connection, Nal Se Jal, through the Jal Jeevan mission, which has rapidly ramped up from around 3 crore homes, 3.5 crore homes, to over 14 crore homes already, and in the next 2.5, 3 years, ensuring Nal Se Jal for every family, has taken electricity and digital connectivity to the remotest corners of the country, with every home today having electricity, ensuring that 55 to 60 crore poor are eligible for free healthcare, and 80 crore of our people, the poor, the neo-middle class, ensured of free food grains every single month, so that our young boys and girls, our talent, our strength, a young population, a proud India can aspire for the better things of life. 140 crore Indians today are empowered, are confident of making India a developed nation by 2047, are working relentlessly day and night to meet high aspirations. They dream big, they achieve big. And 140 crore Indians today feel encouraged by a government that cares for the poor, that cares for the middle class, that cares for our farmers, that ensures our women lead our development activities, that ensures that every single child born in India has the ability to be the artist, to be the shaper of his own destiny, to craft their own destiny. The youth of India today, as reflected by our third rank in the global startup ecosystem, are empowered to become job creators rather than job seekers. But for those who are looking for jobs, not only has the government of India and the state governments of the BJP brought immense opportunities for jobs, both in government-run corporations and in the private sector. So much so that the CEO of L&T is on record to say that they are looking for 45,000 more people, but are not getting enough people to work in their company. And he is also on record to mention that in their IT division, they are looking for 25,000 more people. Friends, so many falsehoods were spoken in the leader of the opposition speech yesterday that even the Honorable Speaker had to repeatedly tell the leader of the opposition to maintain the dignity of the House, not to speak falsehoods in the House, and not to make claims which were baseless. In trying to sensationalize some arguments, he has weakened India, weakened the resolve of 140 crore Indians to make India a developed nation by 2047, and certainly demonstrated how hollow were the UPA thinking and the UPA appeal, as I read out to you the Mr. Chidambaram's speech. And I repeat, I appeal to all political parties to join me in the pledge that we shall never do anything that will affect the stability of the foundations of India's economy. Very clearly showing, the speech of Mr. Rahul Gandhi yesterday demonstrated that just to cast aspersions or make certain barbs on people in high authority, in constitutional persons, on constitutional authorities in the country, he has clearly shown that the so-called India Alliance, the UPA in its new name, has no nationalist thinking, and except for making irrational claims and demands, has no positive agenda to offer for the people of India. Let me take a few of the specific points that he had raised. He spoke about no compensation for Agniveers. It's a complete falsehood. Ajay Kumar, martyred in a landmine blast, as per the Hindu, got 1.65 crore as compensation. Akshay Gawate, martyred in Siachen, received over 1 crore in compensation. Now what a silly argument to say that it was not compensation, it was insurance. If the government of India chooses to take out an insurance policy I think it is only very smart move, fiscally prudent, that ensures that all the people who are working in the particular force are ensured of their benefits in the very unlikely and very unfortunate event that may occur. And it's been clarified on more than one occasions, and I'm quoting from a Times of India article, that a martyr gets compensation of 48 lakhs, insurance paid by the department, 50 lakhs, defense funds, and salary for the rest of the working months to which he was supposed to work, plus 11 lakh of Seva Nidhi. Friends, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is today talking of Agniveer pension, but sadly he doesn't remember how his late grandmother, Srimati Indira Gandhi, had snatched away one rank, one pension from the army in 1973. He has totally forgotten to check the records how the Third Pay Commission in 1973 reduced the pensions of soldiers while increasing the pensions of civilians. He does not seem to remember, in the worst instance, how his late father, Shri Rahul Gandhi ji, introduced Fourth Pay Commission, which not just reduced the salaries but caused an asymmetry in the pay scales of armed forces officers and their equivalent officers in the Indian police force. A family, a party, an India alliance, completely bereft of reality and truth, makes false claims on the floor of the parliament and completely forget about the Bhagat Singh Koshyari committee, which recommended and accepted the demand of one rank, one pension in 2011, and they slept over it from 2011 to 14, only to remember it as a last minute gesture, hoping to get some votes in the interim budget of 2014, but never implementing OROP. It is the Modi government that implemented one rank, one pension and is continuously every 5 years, including recently, the cabinet has accepted further revision in the one rank, one pension rates of pension that our honorable army persons who have served the nation honorably are getting as pension. The ISM chairman, Major General Satbir Singh, retired, told Times of India around 22,000 medals were deposited with the president during 2009 to 11 with the resolution to take this back once OROP was implemented. Even that did not move the then UPA and now rechristened as India Alliance, because the partners are the same. And even at that point of time, they did not relent or accept and implement the OROP. He speaks about tax terrorism. I think it is only right that all those who looted the country, all those who defrauded the banking system, all those who received coal blocks or telecom licenses irregularly, without due process, without making any payment, or making unjust decisions by any authority, should be brought to the book. And when all the scamsters of the UPA regime are being brought to book, I think the Congress party has deep sympathy with all those who have cheated the country. I would like to ask Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the India Alliance whether they support corruption, whether they support all those who have looted the nation. But look at the Congress's track record. In 2012, the UPA brought an amendment to tax retrospectively foreign investors in India, to tax a transaction that happened in 2007 retrospectively to overturn a Supreme Court judgment that weakened India as an investment destination, and people across the world lost hope in the future of India. Similarly, look at our track record. We brought faceless assessments which made it impossible for any income tax officer or assessor to know whose tax report he is assessing, and ultimately leading to freedom from fear, a benign tax regime, over 99% of tax payers getting their assessment within a few days of filing their return without any fear or favor. The BJP also introduced refunds digitally, which reduced the burden on taxpayers, reduced the pressure of going around tax offices, and now I'm told taxpayers get their refund. I'm sure friends in the media also will be benefiting from tax refunds coming in a week or 10 days after filing their return. The BJP also brought the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme so that anybody who had any dispute or small fines can pay a small amount and be rid of the tensions of litigation. Friends, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition makes a completely erroneous and false claim about MSP for farmers. Is it not a fact that the UPA Congress had rejected the idea of MSP when asked a question in Parliament? There are so many instances when the UPA government is on record rejecting the Swaminathan Commission report which came out in 2004. Why did they not guarantee cost plus 50% in the 10 years that the UPA was in power? It is Mr. Modi who came in and guaranteed the farmers MSP at cost plus 50%. So many times in Parliament, they have rejected the demand to make MSP as per Swaminathan formula cost plus 50%, saying it is impractical and not feasible, and the budget or the government will not be able to afford it. Honorable Agriculture Minister Shivraj Chauhanji is on record while answering a Parliament question in Rajya Sabha last week, where he quoted so many times answers in Parliament and quoted from a cabinet decision of the UPA, Congress-led UPA, now called the India Alliance, rejecting the demand for MSP. I asked Mr. Rahul Gandhi to respond to this and tell the nation why his party and his government, any case micromanaged and run by Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji, did not do justice to the farmers. It was finally accepted by the Congress government, and Mr. Swaminathan is on record in an op-ed written in Times of India praising Mr. Modi not only for the decision to accept MSP at cost plus 50%, but for the several initiatives Mr. Modi has taken to support farmers, to support the agriculture sector, and give a good future to the farmers, our Annadatas. In any case, this is the first government which has ensured that every single kilo of food grain, rice, paddy or wheat that is offered by the farmers is bought by the government throughout the country, as demonstrated by the increasing figures of government procurement and the massive increase in rate for MSP provided to the farmers. I'll quote and I'll share this document with you. Paddy, which was increased, absolute increase from 4 to 14 by 823 rupees between 14 and 23. The paddy rate of MSP was increased by Mr. Modi's government by 823 rupees during the NDA Alliance government of 10 years. And through this period, the government has procured paddy worth almost 1,59,660 in the year 23-24 versus only 63,927 procured in 13-14. You can see the increase in procurement by almost 150% from 63,000 to 1,59,000 during Mr. Modi's government of paddy alone. And the story is the same for several products: sugar, paddy, rice, cotton, all are ensured that the government will procure at MSP. Now, the government has also assured the procurement of 3 types of pulses, 3 dals, to encourage farmers to diversify crops, something which Mr. Chidambaram had spoken about in 2014 also. I can read out from his speech when he talks about agriculture. He does not mention about MSP even once in any of his speech. But on the contrary, he says, India, and I quote from his speech of 2014, Mr. Chidambaram says, in his speech of 2004-5, when the UPA came into government, Mr. Chidambaram says, India must become a single market for all products, particularly agricultural produce. The existing acts governing agricultural produce marketing committees have outlived their utility. This is Mr. Chidambaram on record speaking about the UPA's thinking. The government has circulated a model law. Yesterday he spoke about the 3 farm laws. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, this is what the UPA had done. The government has circulated a model law. So far, 10 states have initiated legal or administrative action for direct marketing and contract farming arrangements in line with the model law. He himself is talking about the law that he has introduced for contract farming and direct marketing. I urge all states to enact the model law at an early date. Mr. Chidambaram, Finance Minister of UPA, now called India Alliance, and now an honorable member of Rajya Sabha, senior leader, so-called economist. These are his comments in 2004-5 budget. Friends, the Congress UPA India Alliance is completely bereft of reality. They speak about favors to any particular group, but fail to remember so many instances of crony capitalism of their own party-led state governments and the UPA government. I am reading from the Economic Times article. Congress governments are giving projects to Adani, renewables projects given in Telangana, who signs an MOU very recently. We have seen so many pictures of Mr. Ashok Gehlot in Rajasthan offering 65,000 crores worth of projects without due process and inviting the same company to come and invest in his state. Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself admitted Bhupesh Baghel works for benefits of lights of Adani, and he was their chief minister candidate, and he ran their state government for 5 years. I think it's a complete farce that Mr. Rahul Gandhi claims and is not able to demonstrate a single instance where any out of turn favor or without due process, a single company or corporate house or individual or business got any benefit. On the contrary, the finance minister in her budget, Srimati Nirmala Sitharamanji, has introduced yet one more scheme to support MSMEs, who has been the focus of our effort in the last 10 years. To provide a credit guarantee to MSMEs in stress, to ensure that they do not become bankrupt or have to close down. Central government will guarantee support to MSMEs. Further, Mudra loans to encourage young persons to stand on their own feet, to encourage micro units has been increased from 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs. Startups have been encouraged through abolition of the angel tax. Again, a legacy of the UPA that was introduced by the Congress-led UPA, now India Alliance, in 2002. They are the ones who, 2012, they are the ones who introduced the angel tax in 2012, which Srimati Sitharaman has removed. The NDA government stands with MSMEs, stands with the youth of India, with the startups, and the complete and abject failure of the Congress is once more coming to fore. He spoke about women entrepreneurs not being promoted. The reality is India is seeing a surge of women-led business development along with women-led economic development of the country. As we empower the girl child, as we empower our women with basic facilities, we have a report from Bain & Company that there are approximately 15.7 million women-led enterprises in India, constituting 22% of the overall entrepreneurial landscape. And friends, this is continuously growing. He speaks about paper leaks, little realizing that it was in his own government in Rajasthan that I believe over 17 times the paper was leaked. While it was Mr. Rajnath Singh as Chief Minister of UP in 1992 who brought the first law, the Anti-Cheating Act 1992, which aimed to end mass cheating in schools and universities and made use of unfair means and examinations on non-bailable offence. It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who brought an anti-cheating law, punishment up to 10 years and 1 crore fine, to come down strongly against instances of paper leak. However, the Congress cannot digest that. Hence, they opposed it. And now the reality has been finally come out of the bag, with the Supreme Court also confirming that there was no paper leak in the NEET exam. Isolated instances are being examined by the CBI, and the Congress is only trying to weaken India's students and India's youth and their resolve to make India a developed nation. And I strongly condemn the Congress party. I strongly condemn their efforts of the India Alliance, and in this particular instance the DMK also I strongly condemn for trying to support crony capitalism and wanting to support the illegally run medical colleges where they want to have the power to take capitation fees rather than allowing a poor child from the villages of India, poor child from rural India. They want to somehow cause the middle class to pay large capitation fee so that they can choose who gets admission in medical colleges rather than support a transparent NEET examination. Of course, many other silly arguments were sought to be made. Nothing for MSMEs. Over 1 crore people, over 1 crore MSMEs have benefited from the 59-minute loan portal, where you can immediately get an in-principle sanction and start your business or grow your business, interest subvention for GST registered MSMEs on fresh or incremental loans, increase interest rebate for exporters. All of these have been steps that were introduced first by the Modi government in our 10 years in government. GEM has been a robust example of the Modi government's efforts to promote small and medium micro units to be able to contribute to the procurement of government. And I can list out, I have a long list of support measures to the MSME sector in India. Sadly, it is Mr. Rahul Gandhi, through his irresponsible statements, almost like a childish and fake narrative that he seeks to present, with a broken track record of governance and failed economic policies, which almost brought India to their knees and made us a basket case where rating agencies were considering a downgrade. It is Prime Minister Narendra Modi who has taken India's economy to greater heights, brought in strong macroeconomic fundamentals, and now the rating agencies are talking of a rating upgrade for India, are talking of stable fiscal policies, are talking of strong macroeconomic fundamentals, and are confident about the India growth story, so much so that India is today the shining oasis in the world's economy, with the fastest growing large economy in the world, providing for a better future for 1.4 billion Indians, and a corruption-free India, a strong and resilient economy, meeting the aspirations of 1.4 billion people. Thank you very much. Any questions?
देश की जनता चक्रव्यूह में घिरी हुई 6 तरह के चक्रव्यूह बताए ये लोगों से, और हलवे पे जो रोस्टर की बात की,
कहाँ सेंसस की
हलवा
बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। मैंने तो उसका टिप्पणी भी नहीं करने को सोचा, क्योंकि हलवा सेरेमनी कोई आज हमने नहीं शुरू किया है या 2014 में मोदी जी ने नहीं शुरू किया। कई चीजें परंपरागत चलती हैं। कांग्रेस तो 60 साल देश में राज किया है। अवश्य कभी ना कभी कांग्रेस, मुझे याद भी नहीं है कब शुरू हुआ था, पर कभी ना कभी कांग्रेस के शासन में या तो शुरू हुआ होगा या अवश्य उनके शासन में हर वर्ष हमने ये हलवा सेरेमनी टीवी पे देखी है, जब से टीवी आया, या पता चला है पहले भी होगी, मुझे मालूम नहीं है। इसको जो ओछा स्वरूप देने की कोशिश की, मैं इसकी घोर निंदा करता हूं। ये फिर एक बात दिखाता है कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी विकास और विरासत दोनों को सुरक्षित रखते हैं। राहुल गांधी जी दुर्भाग्य से भारत की परंपराओं को, भारत की विरासत का बार बार अपमान करते हैं, और इस प्रकार के ओछा वक्तव्य तो निंदा के भी शायद कभी उनको उम्मीद नहीं करनी चाहिए। साथ ही साथ मैं ये भी कहना चाहूंगा कि राहुल गांधी जी ने अपनी पार्टी के कई नेता, अपनी पार्टी के कई साथी पक्षों के नेताओं के बहुत ही विवादित बयानों के बारे में आज तक कभी जिक्र नहीं किया। क्या उन्होंने निंदा की है जब उनके पार्टी इंडी अलायंस के सदस्य डीएमके के बड़े वरिष्ठ नेता, मुख्यमंत्री का लड़का, पूर्व केंद्रीय मंत्री जो आज लोकसभा में सांसद हैं, जिस प्रकार के विवादित भाषण करते हैं, सनातन धर्म का अपमान करते हैं, जब उनके पूर्व सांसद, जनता ने उनको हरा दिया बैंगलोर में, के सुरेश जो उप मुख्यमंत्री शिव कुमार जी के भाई हैं, जब वो एक विवादित भाषण करते हैं कि हमारा प्रदेश जितने पैसे केंद्र में देता है उतने पैसे वापस आने चाहिए, उस प्रकार के भाषण करता है और कहता है अगर ये नहीं होगा तो दक्षिणी राज्यों को सोचना पड़ेगा कि वो भारत संघ में रहे कि नहीं रहे। मैं घोर निंदा करता हूं इंडिया अलायंस की और उनके नेताओं की। देश का विभाजन करने की जो इंडिया अलायंस की कोशिश है वो निंदनीय है, दुर्भाग्यशाली है और घृणा के पात्र है।
सर,
उसके सामने प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी जो वंचित प्रदेश रहे, जो पूर्व के प्रदेश रहे, पूर्वोत्तर के प्रदेश रहे, उनका समुचित विकास, देश के 140 करोड़ का विकास, जो वंचित, जो पीड़ित लोग हैं, उनको पहला अधिकार है देश के साधनों का। इस विचारधारा के साथ जो प्रदेश विकास की धारा में पीछे रहे उसको और बल दे रहे हैं और साथ ही साथ पूरे प्रदेश को उनके एक एक योजना का लाभ मिल रहा है।
Sir, two issues we wanted to understand. Like one, finance minister's post-budget commentary, and even in the economic survey, this chief economic advisors talking about that there is a case for rethinking on the Chinese investments in India, and there is an industry's demand.
Economic advisors.
Sir, please let me complete. So, what is the rethinking in the government, particularly on the press note 3?
There is absolutely.
And secondly, sir.
Thank you. आपका एक क्वेश्चन हो गया।
मुझे क्वेश्चन में
क्वेश्चन में सर फिर टाइम
मैं तो स्वागत करता हूँ।
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सर, you have been so kind, sir. Secondly, sir, on this recent European Commission's recent visit to India and their interaction with the government officials, including Economic Affairs Secretary, on the issue of the CBAM issue, that they are proposing that India can have its own tax and collect the taxes to have a greener technologies for the exporting to Europe. So what is the thinking on that?
My
Please,
friend,
thank you
as
so
regards the Chief Economic Advisor's report, it is always a report which speaks about new ideas and gives out their own thinking. It is not at all binding on the government, and there is no thinking on supporting Chinese investments in the country. There is no rethinking at present to support Chinese investments in the country. As regards CBAM, we are in dialogue with the European Union. My own thinking is CBAM will hurt the European Union very badly. Their infrastructure, their costs of living, their industrial products, their consumer products, all will become expensive and their economy will face further distress. But that is my reading of the CBAM. They are very keen to pursue that, and they have offered that India could, instead of paying CBAM taxes to European Union, devise its own mechanism. We will consider their suggestion and come out with whatever is good for Indian industry and the people of India.
Sir, Piyush from India Today. One question regarding Rahul Gandhi. Sir, he categorically stressed yesterday that as in when India Alliance is forming the government in the center, the government will ensure that there is legal guarantee on MSP. Is it possible, you are running the government, is it possible to have a legal guarantee on MSP?
Well, first of all, I hope we can provide for all the promises that were made during the Karnataka election, that were made during the Telangana election. All those promises that they had made, will you kindly first ensure that all the promises made in the state elections are fulfilled by the state governments run by the India Alliance? I demand that the Congress party should first ensure that every single promise that they make in their states are fulfilled before making false comments and false promises to the people of India. ये जनता है, सब जानती है, इसलिए मोदी जी को तीसरी बार सरकार चलाने का दायित्व दिया है। तीसरी बार, और 60 साल के बाद ये हुआ, तीसरी बार देश का प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को बनाया, क्योंकि देश को विश्वास ही नहीं है। ये जो बेबुनियाद और बातें उन्होंने कर्नाटक और तेलंगाना में की थी, जिसका आज तक उन्होंने पूरा नहीं किया, पहले उसको पूरा करें और बताएं देश को कि जो वो बातें कर रहे हैं, जो प्रॉमिसेस कर रहे हैं, उसको कैसे पूरा करेंगे, जबकि उनके खुद के यूपीए के 10 साल के शासकों के भाषण जो मैंने आज सुबह सुने, वो बार-बार फिस्कल प्रूडेंस की बात कर रहे हैं, वो बार-बार अपील कर रहे हैं कि देश को सक्षम बनाना है तो देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को मजबूत होना जरूरी है। अगर राहुल गांधी जी जैसे व्यक्ति देश को चलाएंगे। तो मुझे तो डर है कि जो एक पहले हम सुना करते थे, एक फेज इकोनॉमिक्स में होता है कि देश बनाना रिपब्लिक बन जाएगा। राहुल गांधी जैसे नेता अगर इस देश को चलाएंगे और जिस प्रकार के बेबुनियाद बातें कर्नाटक और तेलंगाना में उन्होंने की और हमने देखी, उस प्रकार की राजनीति से वो देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को खत्म कर देंगे, देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को कमजोर कर देंगे और देश के भविष्य को खतरे में डालेंगे।
सर, राहुल गांधी भागीदारी की बात करते हैं, वो ओबीसी दलितों पिछड़ों की भागीदारी की बात करते हैं। हलवा सेरेमनी में भी जो उन्होंने बात कही थी, उन्होंने कहा था कि हलवा जो बढ़ रहा है तो उसे बांटने में किसी भी ओबीसी और दलित का रोल नहीं था।
मैं सीधा सीधा राहुल गांधी जी पे आरोप लगाता हूं कि ये आज के जो अफसर हैं, जो सेक्रेटरी है, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरीज हैं, ये सब कांग्रेस के शासन में इनकी भर्ती हुई थी। अधिकांश जो अधिकारी आज उच्च पदों पर हैं, ये 1991 से 96 में कांग्रेस के शासन में इनकी भर्ती हुई थी। हो सकता है कुछ लोग उसके पहले भी हो, पर साधारणतः कांग्रेस की सरकारें चली है इतने वर्षों तक। और कांग्रेस ने उन दिनों में कभी कोई बात नहीं करी कि भर्ती में ओबीसी, भर्ती में शेड्यूल कास्ट, भर्ती में शेड्यूल ट्राइब लाने चाहिए। मैं आरोप लगाता हूं कि कांग्रेस ने कभी ओबीसी, शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब की चिंता नहीं की और उनके समय में भर्ती हुए अफसर आज देश की कमान अधिकार संभाल रहे और वो जवाब दें कि उन्होंने क्यों नहीं भर्ती की है ओबीसी, शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब के अफसरों को। उल्टे उनके समय में जो यूपीएससी का एग्जाम होता था, शायद वो कुछ ही भाषाओं में होता था और उसके कारण देश की एक छोटी जनसंख्या को ही अफसर बनने का मौका मिलता। ये तो मोदी जी का शासन है। हाउ मेनी लैंग्वेजेस नाउ यूपीएससी एग्जाम? जस्ट गूगल, जिसमें यूपीएससी का एग्जाम अब देश के अन्य भाषाओं में भी एक गांव गरीब परिवार को भी, एक मध्यम वर्ग परिवार को भी अपने मातृभाषा में एग्जाम देके देश में सेवा करने का मौका मिलता है।
Piyush ji, I have one
This is
question
Nyamika
here.
from Times Now. Sir, I have two questions. One is that, like you have mentioned in your statement, that
और तब कितना था? 2004 और 22 लैंग्वेजेस में 22 भाषाओं में आज यूपीएससी एग्जाम होता है। 22 भाषाओं में देश के गरीब से गरीब व्यक्ति, गांव का व्यक्ति, देश का मध्यम वर्ग और हम सब साधारणतः तो अपनी मातृभाषा में कंफर्टेबल होते हैं। हम भी अभी बातचीत अपनी मातृभाषा में जब करते हैं तो बड़ा सरल लगता है। ऐसे करोड़ों बच्चे हैं जो मातृभाषा में पढ़ते हैं। कांग्रेस ने वर्षों तक यूपीएससी को एक सिलेक्ट ग्रुप का, एक सिलेक्ट प्रिफर्ड ग्रुप का, एक कुछ ही लोगों का क्लब बना रखा था। ये मोदी जी की सरकार है जिसने 22 भाषाओं में यूपीएससी एग्जाम देके गरीब से गरीब व्यक्ति, मध्यम वर्ग के व्यक्ति को, गांव के व्यक्ति को, शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब, ओबीसी व्यक्तियों को सरकार में नौकरी करने के लिए सक्षम बनाया, उनको आत्मनिर्भर बनाया, उनको ताकत दी, बल दी कि वो भी पूरे आत्मविश्वास के साथ यूपीएससी एग्जाम देके भागीदारी दे सके देश की कमान चलाने में।
Sir, like you have mentioned in your statement, once again this debate regarding North versus South has been started by the Congress party's leaders, which also includes DK Suresh as well as Karti Chidambaram. And DK Suresh has once again mentioned that if this unfair treatment will be continued by the central government for the southern states, then there will be a divide which can be created between the North and the South. In fact, Karti Chidambaram has also mentioned that why so much of violence has been erupting in the other states for Kawad Yatra, while it is very much peaceful in Tamil Nadu. How do you want to react?
जब तक प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी प्रदेश के प्रधानमंत्री है और जब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी का एक भी कार्यकर्ता हो, इस देश की जनता 140 करोड़ लोग और भारतीय जनता पार्टी और एनडीए अलायंस कभी भी इस देश का विभाजन नहीं होने देगी। कांग्रेस पार्टी और इंडिया अलायंस बार बार देश के विभाजन की बात करते हैं, बार बार धमकी देते हैं कि देश को तोड़ देंगे। मैं घोर निंदा करता हूं उनसे मांग करता हूं कि राहुल गांधी इस पर स्पष्टीकरण करें, सदन पर खड़े होकर स्पष्टीकरण करें कि उनकी सनातन धर्म के बारे में क्या सोच है। उनकी देश के विभाजन करने वाले वक्तव्य जो उनकी पार्टी के एमपी, जो उनके पार्टी के नेता करते हैं, उसके बारे में स्पष्टीकरण करें। और अगर वो नहीं करते हैं तो ये स्पष्ट होगा कि कांग्रेस और इंडिया अलायंस देश को तोड़ना चाहती है, पर मोदी जी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी देश को एक रखेंगे। सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल के सपने को, सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल के काम को कभी कमजोर नहीं होने देंगे। यहां तक कि हमने कश्मीर, जम्मू कश्मीर तक देश का अभिन्न अंग बनाया। 5 और 6 अगस्त 2019 में आर्टिकल 35 से और आर्टिकल 370 को ध्वस्त करके इतिहास के पन्ने में डालने का काम किया और जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को आज आत्मनिर्भर एक स्वतंत्र जीवन, जिसमें आर्थिक प्रगति हो रही है, जिसमें बड़े पैमाने पर पर्यटन बढ़ रहा है, जिसमें उनके जीवन में खुशहाली वर्षों वर्षों बाद आई है।
Piyush ji, I had one question here. The farmers issue is festering for a long time now, and although you've taken the talks to a very high level, but it didn't mature at that time. Now at the Shambhu border, they've been sitting for almost 160 days. They've burnt copies of the union budget, and there seems to be no solution in sight. What can we expect? Can we expect an early solution? Because it's a major hazard also for people. Public movement is hampered. Supreme Court is cognizant of the matter.
The doors of the government are always open for discussion, for a just and fair solution in the interests of the farmers of India and the Annadatas. You will realize that this is a very small section of farmers. There are crores of farmers in the country. Estimates range from 12 to 14 crore farmers and farming families. Farmers across the country are happy, across the countries support the Modi government. Otherwise, we could never have come back for the third term with such a massive vote share and massive outpouring of public support across the country. The BJP today is the largest single party in every part of India, North India, Western India, Southern India, Eastern India, and in the Northeast India. Mind you, even in South India, the single largest political party, number of MPs, comes from the BJP, reflecting all-round support for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his policies, and his continuation as the third term as Prime Minister. I welcome the farmers for discussions. Our doors are always open, and I hope they will accept this request. Any other question?
Sorry, what is the current party's stance on the caste census, and particularly when do we expect that census will be conducted now?
Well, the Congress party keeps talking about this issue again and again. I would like to ask the Congress party and the India Alliance, why the Congress and the UPA, now christened as India Alliance, boxed the caste census report in 2011. In 2010, the demand for caste census was raised. Why did the Manmohan Singh government, remotely controlled by Srimati Sonia Gandhi, not take up concrete steps towards conducting the caste census? The SECC conducted in 2011 a socio-economic caste census. It aimed to identify households living below the poverty line and provide data on socio-economic indicators including caste. मैं UPA so called India Alliance की बात कर रहा हूं. उन्होंने 2011 के SCCC के कास्ट डेटा को कभी रिलीज नहीं किया. 5,000 करोड़ खर्च हुए थे इस SCCC को कंडक्ट करने के लिए. मैं आरोप लगाता हूं कि कांग्रेस की करनी में कुछ है, कहने में कुछ है. ये झूठे वादे करते हैं, झूठी बातें करते हैं. उनका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड देश के सामने स्पष्ट रूप से लोग देखते हैं कि उनके झूठ और फरेब में भारत की जनता नहीं आने वाली.
सर अगर आप अलाउ करें,
पार्लियामेंट
नहीं ये
का
क्वेश्चन तो अगेन आस्किंग
पार्लियामेंट का टाइम